as Chef Recovery. Chef meaning inspiring, passionate, love the kitchen, love the ingredients, love food, and I love the hustle. Recovery meaning that 7 years ago on February 11th, 2008, I gave up the two loves of my life, which was drugs and alcohol. I've been around alcohol my whole entire life. My dad was an alcoholic, my grandma was an alcoholic, so I saw what it did to a family. I saw what it did to a marriage. I saw what it did to a little boy that was scared. I saw the dysfunction in it. I saw the lostness in it. I just saw the confusion in it. I was never very good in school. I struggled in English. I was very terrible in gym, obviously, because of my size. People made fun of me. They called me names, fat and all those other things that are very hurtful. I failed grade 3. And that's kind of where things went downhill because I lost who I was. All the people that were around me, all my friends moved forward. I stayed back. I was confused as why I would stay back. Right around that same time, my mother and father got a divorce. And that's kind of where my life fell apart because I didn't know where I belonged. I thought it was my fault. I thought it was my fault that my mother and father broke up. I took that on. It left me very confused as to where my identity was. Around that same time, my first addiction I found was food. And food took away all the pain. I had all this pain built up inside, so I just started eating. And eating and eating and eating. And it took away that pain. It gave me this comfort. It gave me this I don't have to think about things that are going on at home. I ballooned to 200 pounds and was very self-conscious. I didn't have any confidence. And I was just scared, right? Around that same time, a couple years later, my mother got remarried. And I was Jay Corey. I was born Jay Corey. My name got changed to Jay Barnard. And that is when my identity, I didn't know who I was. The kids looked at me differently. The teachers looked at me differently. So I looked at myself differently. I didn't know where I belonged. I didn't know if I fit in. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know anything. Somehow through it all, I got through school. I got to grade 7, and I actually excelled in school. I actually was most improved grade 7 of the year, which was a surprise because I wasn't all that good. But the problem was I found alcohol. And alcohol took away everything that I was ever thinking. Everything that I ever wanted, everything that I ever had. That first drink just took away it all. I didn't have to be me. I didn't have to be Jay Corey. I didn't have to be Jay Barnard. I didn't have to be Jay. I could just be whoever I wanted to be. And I could fit in now because I never fit in before. Right around that same time, I found drugs. So now I ran drugs and alcohol, and that's what fueled my whole entire life. I figured out at a young age that if I sold drugs, I could get whatever I wanted. And now I became popular because I wanted to be popular. But I wasn't who I was. I got to be somebody else. I got to be this tough guy. I got to make money. I got to use people. And people used me to get what they wanted. At the age of 18, I was in full-blown addiction. And my mother got remarried for the 3rd time. And my addiction took me right away. I ended up getting kicked out of the house and staying in the back of my grandfather's truck for a couple days until I got myself a place to live. My addiction took me so far that it pushed my family away. And family is very important. At the age of 21, I got busted for the first time. My house got raided. I got busted with 264 grams of marijuana and 28 grams of cocaine. This time I started using cocaine for the first time. It took me to this whole new world. This world that I could just be somebody else. This euphoric state. This fantasy. But what I didn't realize is that my whole life was crumbling in front of me, and I didn't even see it. Around that same time, I went to jail for the first time. I found comfort in jail because I didn't have to do my laundry. I didn't have to cook. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to be me, and I could have drugs in jail. Around that same time, I thought I'd do the geographical cure. But what I didn't understand about the geographical cure is if Jay has to go wherever Jay's going. So if nothing changes, nothing changes. And that's what happened. Nothing changed. I ended up getting myself a job for a company. Went door to door selling trinkets. I'm sure you guys seen them before. You know, the toys, the trinkets, the knives. How you doing? Check it out. Well, you know, that stuff. Anyways, I ended up doing really good in that company. I ended up getting top sales guy of the year 2 years in a row. Ended up moving with the company. I landed myself in Hamilton, and I found heroin. And that saying, when you got to live to use and use to live, I had to live to use that because it took everything away from me. I had pain, I was sick, I was everything. And I couldn't live without my hit of heroin. The company came to me that I was working for, and they had said, Jay, you could be something in life. It was the first time in my life that I saw somebody cared enough to tell me that you could be somebody. They said, if you get your stuff together, you can go somewhere. So I got off the heroin, I stayed on the cocaine and the booze, and I got promoted out to Barrie, Ontario with my partner, and we had a business called Rising Above Vendors Everywhere. The problem was my self-centeredness, selfishness, ego, and pride took over my life. And I lost the company. Around that same time, I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to commit suicide. So I went to a bar and I found this girl who had these pills. And I took one and I snorted one and I took the rest. I was living at this house where it was very dysfunctional and I was very abusive, and the lady had left me at the time that I was seeing. Out of nowhere, she came home that night and found me in a pile of black puke, barely breathing. I got rushed to the hospital, and I overdosed. I was in the hospital for 3 days. I got out of the hospital and I went straight to the liquor store, got a 60-ounce of rye, and I got an ounce of crack. I wanted to kill myself again. I didn't want to live. The pain was so bad that I didn't want to live. But I was scared. I got scared. So because of the charges that I had got for driving while under suspension for the 5th time, I turned myself into the police and I did jail. Went to jail in Penetang Penitentiary. Jail saved my life that time. I got out of there, moved back to Kenora, Ontario, and the cycle continued. Right up until February 11th, 2008, when I started. I went and seeked out a counselor, and this counselor said, Jay, you got one house left on the block. It's treatment. I'm going to send you a place in Ottawa, Ontario called the Salvation Army Boost Center. It's God-driven, and I think you're going to fail. I said to her, why are you sending me there? I failed at everything I've ever done. Everything I've ever done, I failed at. Why are you going to put me somewhere I'm going to fail again? She said, just go even if you do fail. So I got on a plane, February 11th, 2008, and started this journey of recovery. Now, this journey has not been easy. That's 2,568 days today that I jumped on that plane. I've been scared. I've had a ton of fear. I had to recreate myself because I didn't know me. At 4 months, I thought I had this whole thing licked. Get on a plane, head back to Kenora, blah, 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 continue my awesome life, probably start drinking and using again. That's 120 days clean and sober. So I got fed up. I left the treatment center. I went to the airport, sat in a bar, and waited for somebody to ask me for a drink. Because if I ask for a drink, I'm the problem. But if you ask me for a drink, you're the problem. I got fed up and went back to the treatment center and told my counselor, Giovanna, at the time, this is a bunch of crock. He told me I'd feel better. I don't feel better. I feel better using. She said to me, Jay, I want you to go upstairs and write down everything you've changed. If you have problems with that, ask the people that are in the treatment center. I came up with two things. I'm going to meetings, and I'm clean and sober. I went and asked a couple people at the time that were in the treatment center. My anger got the best of me. And I used anger to defend myself. I didn't want that little boy to get hurt inside, so I used my anger. And I scared people in there. And of course, what did they say? Yay, Jay, you changed. Yeah. That's what I wanted to hear. Yes, you've changed. But I went to the other people that had been there the whole time, and they said, Jay, look at yourself. You're running around a treatment center. Your life is unmanageable. At that moment, it hit me. My selfishness, my self-centeredness, my pride and my ego, I was running my life. I went downstairs and begged to stay at the treatment center because I was scared of the real world. She told me that she'd give me 2 more months and that I had to do it her way. Now, doing it her way wasn't easy. But I did something that night that they had told me to do the whole entire time, which was get on my hands and knees, and this is what came out of me. God, give me the strength, courage, hope, and faith I need. Keep believing in me, trusting in me, having faith in me. Keep loving and caring about me unconditionally. Give me patience, tolerance, understanding, forgiveness, compassion, and acceptance of other people's struggles, along with my own. Let me love myself, like myself, care about myself enough to move forward in a positive direction. Let me be comfortable with who I am and what I'm doing. Let me live in the day, the moment, to live on life's terms. My Lord, I turn my will and my life over the care of you today and guide me in my recovery. Never give up, keep living the dream. That morning I woke up with a smile on my face. The first time I had ever seen a smile on my face. And this journey of recovery started for me. They told me to bring in this higher power and just do the footwork and the rest will happen. They called it graduation at the treatment center, and I knew if I called it graduation that I'd fail. Because when I think of graduation, I think of drinking and using. So I had to change that word. So I thought to myself, what am I doing? I'm transitioning. I'm transitioning to better myself into a better way of living. And that's what I called it. I transitioned myself into a better way of living. I moved myself into a sober living house called the Liberty House, which gave me the support, the comfort, everything that I needed to learn how to live. Around that same time, I had to go back home and deal with the charges that I got busted with cocaine for the 4th time. And I was looking at a 5-year sentence at 7 months. I ended up getting an 18-month probation sentence. First time in my life that I saw, if you help yourself, people will help you. I went back to Ottawa and got myself into the apprenticeship program to be a chef at a college and dove in. I was like a sponge. I took everything in. I wanted to learn everything about this business. I wanted to be the best chef that I could be. I got myself a couple jobs at the hotels in town. I hung around the coolest chefs. They gave me the coolest things. Taught me the cool, like who doesn't like that TEDx thing right there? Hello! The coolest things were starting to happen to me. I ended up hitting a rock bottom in recovery at 4 years. I lost everything. Luckily enough, my family was in Fort McMurray, and I love my family to death. They've helped me out. We've been through a lot. They've been through a lot with me, but they always gave me a chance, and they always supported me. I got on a plane, came to Fort McMurray, got a job on site, took a transfer, and now I'm the executive chef in a corporate kitchen here in town. I do cool things with cool celebrities, and I get to be me. I have a wonderful life today. I have a beautiful fiance by the name of Julie who loves me, supports me, cares about me, and would do anything for me. Her amazing and beautiful daughter, Shanika, has brought me into her life without even knowing me, and I treat her like my own. I have a career today. I have a job that I love. I wake up and go to every single day. I love myself today. I don't know if I could have said that to you 7 years ago. I had one shot to live the dream. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm living the dream and never giving up. Thank you.